18 finally made it here. A lot of these lines are ripping and running, Tom. We usually come on and talk like, all these weeks, like, okay, everybody knows really who's playing, who's not playing. But the information is absolutely flying today. And of no weeks, 1 through 17, you are going to find more line movement than you get in week 18, Tom.
It's really the case. Sometimes you see a line and it goes from, 2.5, and then, someone gets ruled out on the opposing team that jumps to 4.5, 5.5. Like, okay, that happens. Some of the line movement, Donnie, that we have seen are nearly doubling the lines that we talked about. And it's not like a Tuesday opening line. Some of these lines have moved 4, 5, 6 points since Friday.
Yeah, and also, Tom, taking a look at this week too, because these lines are moving. We'll go every single game. I mean, we got games are like example, we'll hit Green Bay, Minnesota, 4.5 opening number, the look ahead, 12.5 right now on game day, 12.5, which again, we'll get to. But Tom, talk to me about this as well, because a lot of my betting intuition this week, it doesn't necessarily come from incentives per se. Right. When I look at some guys that I bet today, chances for MVP, chances to get 1,000 yards in a couple different spots here, you need to use that to your advantage. Now, the books are smart, and they really slow played this week, Tom, but I got a couple parlays out there that are just telling me in meaningless games, players are playing for one thing and one thing only, Tom, is to get their stats. How do you approach that?
I think you have to approach it any which way that you want. Like, if you want to lean into incentives and career milestones, awards, do so. But like you said, the books know. So like a guy that needs 50 yards, they're never going to put his prop at 35.5. It's going to be 47 or 48.5, whatever it might be.
More, yeah.
So like, I would say this is a really fun week to bet. I would probably say I would rather have more bets at decreased unit sizes, just to be like, okay, I'll bet on this incentive here, this thing here, just to spread it around and have some fun. It is the final week of the regular season. But just to get in a little bit of action here and there. I will also say that there's a lot of opportunity-based spots because teams have just shut down players. So someone like Jerry Jeudy on the Browns is in a great spot with no Njoku, no Harold Fannin, going up against the Bengals. So it's a combination of everything.
It's a great point you bring up, too, because when you're taking a look, because some things I believe teams can control, right? Like, you can't guarantee yardage, but if a running back needs 1,000 yards, like Chase Brown today, going up against a good defense, they're not really playing for much, but you know what? He's never had a 1,000-yard game. If he gets 1,000, I think he's listed at 61.5, but needs, I think, 40, high 40, something in that number for that range. Like, you can give him, 18 carries doesn't get 50 yards. We tried. We just can't force it. Or let's just say Justin Jefferson's got to get 50 yards. But he's much higher on his prop, but just to get around 50 yards for 1,000, you can throw him the ball 7 or 8 times. The hardest ones, Tom, to me are the touchdown props for a wide out. Like, I think Hollywood Brown has one for catch a touchdown. It's like $1 million. Now, well, they tried to, but it's, Oladokin at quarterback. But also, there's a couple guys out there floating with sack prop numbers. You can't guarantee that. Like, that's probably the hardest one. Like, I think Calais Campbell's a couple hundred, like $700,000, whatever, get one more sack. Or even Myles Garrett, he wants the sack. He's not playing the run at all today. But you can't guarantee that he's going to get them. The sacks, Tom, are the hardest ones for me.
It really is. And that's where I would say, okay, if you want to bet on a sack, that's where I would decrease the unit, just because it's difficult to get a sack to begin with.
Correct.
Right. So that's where, again, you can have some fun with the TD prop, or not only it's Hollywood Brown, it's Terry McLaurin. It's also in line for a bonus with, for another TD, Debo, all these things, Tony Pollard. They need all of these things to, hit these incentives, $500,000, $250,000, whatever it is. But, it is tough to balance the team need and also the player want.
Correct. Like, there's because he needs 9 catches. All right, well, I don't know. And also understand this. There are some guys today, Tom, playing in games that need incentives, but the games actually mean something. It's harder to get around that and say, and the game I'm going to pick out is the Chicago Bears. They need to beat Detroit to get the 2 seed. And it's not really an individual I'm going to cash in prop, but a 4,000-yard passer, Chicago's never had it. It's in range today. But you're not going to say, well, let's throw the ball a ton early just to try to get them some numbers. And, oh, no, we're down 14-3 because we weren't playing our game plan. Those have to be watched out for. But there are games we'll get into right now. Green Bay, Minnesota, the 4.5 look-ahead line number at FanDuel. That's gone. It's 12.5 now. Only difference is in this game is Green Bay told you this week they're benching their starters, but You should have known coming in Green Bay was going to bench their starters. They can't improve their standing, so why would they play anybody of meaning? And also in the NFL, it's not college. You have 100 players on your roster where some of these guys have to play, but the key guys aren't going to step out there. And also, Tom, the biggest change, Brosberg gets changed back to McCarthy, which means at least you're going to have a game plan for McCarthy. And if you're going to play McCarthy, that means your starter's going to be out there. You're running meaningful stuff and game planning as if to have a good balance towards next year. Is he going to play the whole game? We don't know that, but that's what that is. But Tom, now 12.5 for Minnesota now.
If you have a line anywhere from earlier in the week, that is around a touchdown, that's just amazing closing line value. Like 12.5 going from where it was.
Yep.
And we spoke on Friday morning and it was 7.5. I was like, yeah, that's a pretty good spot. And then knowing it balloons up to 12. So again, if you have a 7.5, an 8.5, even a 9.5 is great, knowing that you could just cover by 10.
Yeah, like nobody's going out there in that game.
Right. KOC, the coach for the Vikings, has said a couple of weeks ago, like it was their plan, and it's been very front of mind for him since they've been eliminated to get Jefferson to 1,000 yards, so he can continue this, X amount of seasons to start a career with 1,000 yards. And the quarterback play has been terrible for them. So, I would like to see them just throw the ball to Justin Jefferson time and time again because there's no other reason not to do so. And Green Bay isn't going to be going all out to stop anybody on offense or stop anyone on opposing offense or score on their own.
Yeah, because you look at that number there. And again, books know. Like, Justin Jefferson has not had a good season by his terms. Like, you look at his games, like, man, some days he completely disappears. Now, for me, I did have an alt parlay, Tom, which I included Justin Jefferson to just get 50 yards because that's really all. I think he needs 47 yards, something like that. Somewhere around 50 yards is what he needs, but it's a little bit less than that. But they posted at 71. Now, he might go out and dominate today, Tom, but this could be one of those games where he has 6 catches in the first quarter and a half for 68 yards. And like, okay, there's no reason for you to get hurt the rest of this meaningless game, and you pull him out. So you see 71. He should get 71 against a backup defense, but the question is he going to play once he gets the 1,000? A lot of those, Tom, are just curtain calls at that point.
They are. So he needs 53 to be exact, but that could be like half of these teams. That could be the plan. It's like CeeDee Lamb, Jefferson, Trey McBride. It's like, let's throw him out there for a half. Let's get him 10 targets. If he only has 7 catches for 50 yards, he doesn't get there, so be it, but we're going to pull him in the second half. So you have to also understand the propensity for the team to try and help their players get contract incentives, but they're also going to scale back on them, knowing that they don't want anyone getting hurt in a meaningless last week of the season game. Because, Donnie, a significant injury is a 9-month recovery.
Correct.
Yep. Which puts you up until August or September, and that impacts next season.
No, it certainly does, which, again, is the books understand and know this. He's at 71, not because, like, okay, we're going to put some buffer, because he can play the whole game and get 130 yards, or, quite frankly, Tom, he could have 42 yards in the first quarter and catch a 60-yard touchdown bomb to clinch it. There is that, but buyer beware. There is a chance once he gets that 1,000, he's not going to take another snap in this game. Game number 2 we'll talk about here. Riley Leonard getting the start for the Colts here over Phillip Rivers because they probably don't want to get him killed. But how about this? Houston is going to rest Nico Collins in this game, which I do think is a good. You're going to probably beat Indy without him, but it does make it a little bit tougher. No Nick Chubb in this game. The 9.5s, Tom, as we see earlier, we had 10.5s for most of the week and dropped to 9.5 based on that news. Indy is not playing for anything. Houston actually is, because there's a chance that they could win the division if the Jacksonville. Now, granted, we're not expecting Jacksonville to trip up or let's just say the Denver Broncos or the New England Patriots. But there is still a chance that they're playing their starters and will. You're just not going to see Nico today. How do you approach this game with the Colts? Because I do think it's a good move to put Riley Leonard. At least he can get away from that pass rush.
Right. I spoke to Brady and Adam last night about this game briefly. The only bet that I have in this game would be Houston defensive touchdown at plus 700, just because of Riley Leonard. And to your point, Houston theoretically has something to play for. Whether or not that's going to be realized, I don't think so, just because we don't expect the Jags to lose. But I don't want to have too much exposure to this game. And frankly, if anything, I would take C.J. Stroud under. I would take under on his attempts, under on yards. I have the touchdown for the Texans defense. I know Nick Chubb needs 94 rushing yards to hit a contract incentive, and I highly doubt he's going to ever see that. But I want no exposure to this game if I don't have to.
Yeah, you look at the touchdown props. Again, Woody Marks, Dalton Schultz, Jaden Higgins, Kirk. Like, they're all high numbers, and they should be because you don't even know how long they're going to play, what the game plan actually is. But with Nico Collins out, there is some opportunities that you can get some catches out there and see what happens. But this game was one I stayed off completely. Does Houston need to win? Yes, and also understand this, too. Tennessee and Jacksonville are playing at 1 o'clock, so both of those teams will be side by side. If Jacksonville, let's just say, 21-3 third quarter, C.J. Stroud might come at it. So, again, there's a lot of those things. You don't exactly know how the game's going to play out, but at the same time, they're giving you a little bit of feeling, saying, all right, well, how important is the game for Hugh? Tom, if the game was like, you know what, in our advantage, Nico Collins is playing today. They're telling you, hey, look, we can't afford to get Nico hurt in a game that probably isn't going to mean such. Because also understand, if Jacksonville and Tennessee, Tom, was a 1.5-point line, yeah, Houston's going all out. It's 10.5 at that point right now, so certainly have to take some of that as a grain of salt with this.
Right.
Cleveland and Cincinnati, Tom, we got Shedeur Sanders. I don't know what weapons he's got today, but he's going up against Cincinnati, that bad defense. This line also is juiced for us. The 7s for a majority of the week, 7.5. We're now breaking through to 9.5 at most outlets today. For me in this game, Chase Brown, the running back, around 50 yards or so away from getting 1,000. He's priced at 61. It's a meaningless game. If he crosses the 1,000 without getting it on that final carry, I don't know how many more carries he gets, but this game feels like it's a stat game for Cincinnati, and see what happens.
Yeah, that's how I would look at it too. Two teams that are completely eliminated. There's no real huge milestones outside of Chase Brown and Myles Garrett. And because those are, I'm going to say, relatively prominent players, like Chase Brown's not a nobody running back, like the lines that we're getting from them are really unbettable. I do like Jerry Jeudy today. Like I said, they're clearly devoid of talent with no David Njoku and Harold Fannin out there. So I like Jerry Jeudy. I'm playing him in DFS, some lineups over there. I think 46.5 is a very fine number to get to.
Because, again, Shedeur is still in game plan mode. I want to see what he has for next year. They're not going to tuck tail. And also, you're not going up against a good defense at all. You should be able to move the ball even with limited resources. And you just have to sometimes paint by numbers. Well, they don't have any weapons. Well, Jerry Judy's an NFL weapon. 10 targets, Tom? Like, honestly, 10 targets today, the expectation.
I mean, he really could. And that's what it should be. I mean, again, to your point, with Shedeur Sanders out there, it's like, this is the game. Just let him rip it.
Yes.
Like, and there's also like reports that Stefanski's not going to be there next year, that he's maybe let go or whatever.
Yeah.
But let Shedeur Sanders rip it. Let him try for 300 yards again and see what happens. Like, there's no downside at this point. You might as well just let him air it out against the Bengals.
Look at this next game, Tom. The New York Giants and the Dallas Cowboys. We see here the 5.5s, which were the opening number for FanDuel, now being bought down to as low as 3 on game day. So still an underdog for the Giants. But here's a tough one. Like, Dallas is not playing for anything. Dak's going to play. He's not going to play the whole game. Like, there's already the reports. We just don't know when Joe Milton's coming in. But the Giants, Tom, if they lose this game, they'll probably stay at number 2, which is exactly what they want. Should they win this game, Tom, they could fall to 7th. Like, I can't take the Giants should not have any business even competing. But I know the coaches, Tom, can't tell the players, hey, Jackson, throw 3 picks in the first quarter. Like, get this game 21-0. Like, they can't do that. So these players are going to play. But again, they took away Wandale. They took away his tight end here. They're surely stripping it down. But at the same time, I just can't see the Giants winning this game. So again, if you're taking 5.5, 6.5, or 7.5, yeah, make it look good, lose by a touchdown, it's fine. But Tom, 3 points? They're asking the Giants to have the football in their hand with a chance to win this late. What am I missing here?
The issue that I would have, and first of all, the Giants should absolutely not be trying to win this game, as they should have last week, which set them further back. But this really comes down to, I think, Cowboys and knowing that we're not seeing Javonte out there, Javonte Williams, that is. It's going to be Jadon Blue. There's a very clear chance that CD and Pickens and Dak all get pulled after a half. Yeah. Pickens is up for a contract extension. They don't want him to get hurt if they plan on re-signing him. CD's already dealt with an injury this year. There's no reason to extend that. Yeah. So I think they play a half, sure. And, whatever happens at that point. But if I had a 5.5 with the Giants, I would love that. I feel really unsure about a Cowboys 3 at this point.
You know what it feels like to the Giants? Because coaches can't actively tank. But you know what we're going to see a lot in this game, Tom? 4th and 4 for the Giants at the 17-yard line going in. They ain't kicking the field goals. because they know there's probably an under 50% chance they convert it. And even if they do convert it, it still doesn't mean you get a touchdown. Get ready for that. Like, oh, Giants can wait a second. The Giants are going on 4th and 11 instead of tying this football game up. Yeah, watch out for that one at this point. But there are no props at FanDuel, which I do think is kind of hilarious. And by the way, how could you have any props in this game anyway? You don't know anything. Who's playing what? Who means nothing? But the Giants taking on money, I thought was kind of interesting in this one here. How about this next one, Tom? New Orleans and Atlanta yesterday. He's like, hey, Carolina win this game? Don't matter. You knew Tampa was going to win that game. And by the way, how the hell did Tampa not cover that game? Shout out if you had the Panthers yesterday, get that late collapse on the point spread. But now you have Atlanta as a 3.5-point favorite and 4.5 listed at DraftKings, as you see right here. Understand this part of it, too. Kirk Cousins wakes up, doesn't feel good, barely, somebody's got to look into this stuff here. I didn't have any wagers, but I got to be honest. I would be shocked if Atlanta lost this football game, because New Orleans is even stripped down to everything. Rookie quarterback, who I know's played well. It's on the road at this point. You have no weapons anymore at wide receiver or running back or tight end or anything, it feels. I think Atlanta should run away with it. And then I'm like, well, how sick is Kirk Cousins at this point?
Great question.
Damn.
Bijan's rush attempt prop is 18.5. At least I'm seeing on FanDuel. Like, if Kirk Cousins actually isn't good enough to play or barely playing, it should be a big Bijan game. The only look I have in this game is Juwan Johnson, the tight end for the Steelers.
Yeah, only look. Yeah.
He has had some good chemistry with Tyler Shuck, to your point, who's played pretty well. Like, Shuck has not been bad. No. I thought the Saints were going to be an absolute disaster this season. Yep. And granted, they were for a large portion of it. Like, Shuck actually looks kind of competent, which is nice to see. So Juwan Johnson, I think, is fine. That 56.5 number is obviously heavily inflated because there's no Olave, and there's so few other pass catchers. Kevin Austin, I caught like 4 passes last week. I forget, 4 passes and a touchdown last week, something like that. So he's a fine option, but he's not like stepping into being like this dominant wide receiver role. So I would play Juwan Johnson, and that's basically it. The 18.5 for Bijan, I think, is a bit much, considering Atlanta has nothing to play for. If it was 16.5, Donnie, if his prop was 16.5 attempts, even with like 150 juice, I'd probably play that.
And also, you take a look at the extracurriculars here. Like, Atlanta has finished on a win streak here. Like, Raheem Morris was fired mid-season. He's looking at this as like, if I win this game, we go on this run, we just got to stay healthy next year. I can buy another year. That means something. And also, this game technically does mean something from the NFL standpoint, where you don't just want to see one team just throwing up their hands in the air, which is why it's 3.5. But both of these teams are telling you more than New Orleans. Like, we're not risking our star players in this game, or somebody can help us in the future. I do think Atlanta wins, but again, you're not talking about the 2.5s anymore. Some 4.5s out there in the marketplace. We'll see how that plays out. And also, how sick is Kirk Cousins? We'll find that out a little bit. 1 o'clock game should have a blowout here. Jacksonville, Tennessee. Jacksonville looking to win. They win this. They win the division. 10.5s turn into 12.5s here. Tennessee has been playing better as of late, but the game is in Jacksonville. I think Jacksonville wins this going away. Any prop bets you look at this game, Tom?
I don't. This is just an extremely straightforward spot for Jacksonville. They lock up the AFC South with the win. It helps secure their seeding, which would be 3, assuming that the Broncos and Pats both win. So I have no props in this game. I will say I have Trevor Lawrence, heavy exposure to him in DFS today, playing in some DraftKings lineups. Him, Jacoby Myers, Parker Washington, and Travis Etienne. I have exposure to all those players. I fully believe they'll be going all out to score and win. And it's not like they've been playing bad. Like, they've been on fire as of late. So just lean into what's working right now.
And the good part about this game, too, is you do have Houston playing at the same time, which means you want to, I don't care how you're playing Jacksonville. You see 10-0 Houston in the first quarter, you are loving that, because that means Jacksonville must play all the way through to make sure they win that game and probably win it by margin here, which is why you're getting those 12.5s. What you don't want to see is Houston down in the second half and starting to pull their players, then Jacksonville pulls their players, and nobody cares at that point. But also, Jacksonville still with the outside chance to move up just in case New England loses, which, again, I don't think New England's going to lose. And we'll talk about that game next year. Quinn Ewers and Drake May. And, when you talk about, like, tanking for the season, no Devon Achane on that offense. I don't know what it's going to look like. And then you say no Waddle on that offense. I don't have no idea. None, Tom, how Miami competes in this game, which is why you got the 9.5s now sitting up there to close to 13.5, depending on where you're shopping at, 45.5. Understand this, Tom. Here's what I like about this game, too. Earlier in the week, I did take Drake May over 1.5 touchdown passes. Everybody in the organization knows we should win this game, but also, my guy is the front runner to win MVP. You know what I love late in the week, Tom, that I heard? Oh, by the way, Rams are going to play all out in this game, which means you can't just say, hey, we'll take the day off with Drake May, throws no touchdown passes, and Stafford goes balls to the wall with 5 tutties. I'm telling you, I don't know how many yards he's going to throw for, Tom, but they are not handing the football off inside the 5. They're not doing it.
Totally agree. Drake made that line for over 1.5 passing touchdowns. It's heavily juiced out there, minus 180, minus 190s.
Yep.
Thereabout. We spoke on Friday about this game and really liked the Pats team total first half.
Yes.
Over 14.5.
Yep.
I did look at the alt 13.5 line. That was minus 190. I think that's a tad much. Again, if you gave me a minus 150 on over 13.5, or if anyone has some type of boost, odds boost to move it to closer to 150, I would play over 13.5 Pats team total in the first half up to minus 150. Again, everything that you said is true. They want to win this game just because of the seeding, so that's just a normal, rational thing. But then on top of that, it's the MVP narrative that they want Drake May out there. They want to secure it, an immensely positive season, turnaround season, but also to a point that we spoke about with Joe, they want to take the spotlight away from the issues that the other players on the team, Steph Diggs, have been having, and make it all about Drake May, all about the MVP. Let's keep the spotlight on him.
Yeah, Diggs has a lot of incentives there to get again, 30 yards. You're not going to be able to take that straight with Stephon Diggs today, obviously, but 30 yards or so gets him to 1,000 yards. I think he needs like 8 or 9 catches, like another $1 million. I'm not saying, again, they need to win this game. This isn't like, hey, let's go out and pad some stats and get out of here as soon as you get it, because they do have to win this. But at the same time, we always talk about, too, which I think it's so good. You're talking about the first half team total, which you guys can't bet out there, then be full game. You don't need a running mate in the first half. You just don't. They're gonna, we need a running mate. Like, oh no, I need 31.5. This game's a blowout in the fourth quarter. The last 6 minutes, we're running it out. Nobody's running clock in the first half. And also, Miami, if you don't have weapons, you know what that means, Tom? Oh, we just had the ball for 1 minute and 2 seconds, a quick 3 and out 3 straight times. You continue to get the football. I think New England in an absolute runaway today. Bad football game here, Tom. Oladokin, Pickett, Vegas, they don't want to win, but Kansas City stinks at the same time. Like, how do we play this one, though? Like, Vegas cannot win. You know that coming in, Tom.
Yeah.
But the players themselves are still going to play hard. If you tell me, like, Donnie, free bet on this game, like, I feel like I still want to take Vegas with the 4.5. Like, is Kansas City running away from anybody?
No. If you gave me a free bet on this game, it would just be with Hollywood Brown for a touchdown. It was plus 340 on Friday. It's down to plus 300. He needs a contract incentive, which is, if I can find this quickly,
$1 million, isn't it?
Right. Really? Hollywood Brown needs 102 receiving yards to earn $625,000. He also needs 1 TD to earn $750,000.
Wow.
So
it's not a bad. I'm telling you, that's like, I don't really like that narrative because it's hard. But the point, like, how do you look a player in the face that's going to be with you next year and like, hey, in the red zone, we ran it 6 straight times and didn't give you a look? If I tell you right now, Tom, he's got 2 targets in the red zone today, that's a win. That's even if you catch him.
Exactly. Like we always talk about, it's like, if a player has, 7 attempts, they should be able to get over 25 yards. It's like, sure, if I could guarantee 2 red zone targets for Hollywood Brown, I would make this bet 10 times out of 10.
I might have to get
Kareem Hunt does need 31 scrimmage yards to earn only $25,000.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind. They do want to get Hunt involved, but I think that plus 300.
I'm telling you, Tom. I think you have to play that 3-1. Like, I don't know if it turns out, if he doesn't get any targets, so be it. But a 3-1 price with that much money in a meaningless football game. Like, don't you just want to have him get that and be like, hey, man, I hooked you up, and it's great for the season.
This is a thing for, like, team culture. Like, guys want to sign there, want to at least sign there knowing. And in a meaningless game, that means absolutely nothing. They went out of their way to give him a chance to get $500,000.
I think you got to take it, man. I think it's now, because I wasn't really – I knew that the big price – I don't know if I guarantee it, but I honestly think you do. That is a terrible defense that's not trying to win. And Andy Reid can disguise the nastiest play that you haven't seen.
A little pop pass that doesn't have to be a real pass. That could be the jet sweep.
A pop pass or a shovel pass repeatedly just to get him the looks. Kansas City loves the pick play. Kansas City loves screen passes. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, man, I think you got me on this one. I think you got to take Hollywood in this game. Yeah. Detroit, Tom, and Chicago. I loved this spread, Tom, at 2.5. I'm getting a little nervous at 4.5. And it was at 3 late last night. I believe maybe, where was the, let me just check FanDuel. When did that line shift? So yesterday around mid-afternoon, you still had 3. 3.5s came in last night. if this was staying 2.5 or 3, Tom, and if it does switch back, which I don't think it is at 4.5, why is Detroit? Because Detroit's the one team theoretically you would think would get up because Dan Campbell's an idiot. Like, I'll play all my starters because I just want to beat but Detroit's not even that good. And they're outdoors with nothing much to play for. I do think Chicago wins, but I missed it. Like, as many as these guys, I missed the 2.5s and I missed the 3s on Chicago. I did.
Right. And that's very common occurrence, especially in Week 18 when the lines move so quickly that, like I said, I wanted the Vikings 7.5, and now it's at 12.5, and I just missed the 12.5. I'm not. Right. I missed the 7.5. Now it's at 12, so I'm just not betting that. But this is a game that does mean something for the Bears. They are trying to secure their spot when it comes to the NFC. There's also the added thing that Caleb Williams needs 270 yards in order to be the first Bears quarterback with 4,000 yards ever in a season. So, listen, they've been lighting it up on offense as of late. They have something to play for. They're going up against Ben Johnson's former team, and this Detroit defense is terrible to begin with. So I think it does kind of all lean into the same spot, saying that the Bears should win and cover, and Caleb Williams has a big game. But to your point, if you missed the number on the Bears, I would just bet on Caleb at this point.
And by the way, again, you look at the other circumstances like the New England Patriots. They're probably not going to get the 1 seed, but damn it, that 2 seed is real important. You guarantee yourself, if you win 2 playoff games before you get to the AFC Championship game or NFC Championship game, the Chicago Bears in that same spot. Like, this is a must-win for them where they're going all out. Now, they're a little bit banged up at wide receiver. We'll see how competent Burden might be in this game. Get hurt late last week in that the loss to the San Francisco 49ers. Some other things in there, but I do find it interesting where I might wait just to see who those final inactives are. But I do think Chicago wins. Now, what do you think about the total, 51.5? Like Dan Campbell again. He wants to beat Ben Johnson. He wants to throw the football all over the place, but I don't want to say, Chicago wins 27-10. It feels like the bottom could just drop out on the Lions, or it could be damn, the Lions are really angry at this game.
Either one of those, the range of outcomes in this game is vast.
Yeah.
Either one of those things I could fully see happening. So Dan Campbell wanting to push his guys has been the case since he's been there. But also it makes no sense. And if they end up going down by 17 points, which is possible because their defense is terrible. And again, the Bears offense has been cooking as of late. Yeah. That's not going to surprise me. So to see them all get pulled at the end of the third quarter, it would not surprise me. And then the Bears win this game and cover by 10 or 12 wouldn't shock me. And
again, Amon-Ra St. Brown is supposed to play in this game. Yeah. Probably going to go, if it goes decent in pregame warmups, will be in there. But also, as Tom points out, hey, you're down double digits. What do we got Amon-Ra St. Brown out there in the second half for at all at this point? Is it Isaac Tesla game all 3? I mean, I don't want to paint myself in the corner. Let me just take backups because, again, Dan Campbell is just one of the hardest coaches to read on when you should bench guys and not bench guys. He doesn't care. But that's a fun one to watch. I do think the Bears win that football game. I'm confident. He said, well, Donnie, why don't you just take the 4.5 then? It's hard because you missed the 2.5, you missed the 3s, and this game ends 24-20. Son of a bitch, man. What did I do that for at this point? So the Jets and the Buffalo Bills, Tom, I have nothing in this game. Even though we're now back up to 11.5, the Jets also waving the white flag. Breece Hall's their only good player. He's not going to play today. Brady Cook's out there. Good luck. But again, the motivation for the Buffalo Bills, I don't know what it is. Josh Allen will play in this game. He's not playing the entire I would be surprised if Josh Allen's in there after the second series, Tom, to be honest.
The only thing I would look at in this game, which I'm trying to find right now, would be touchdown props because I haven't seen any on DK. Let me check FanDuel real quick because Dawson Knox has a contract incentives and so does Ty Johnson. And frankly, Ty Johnson makes a ton of sense knowing that they're not going to put James Cook in there. And they're just going to pull
anything. Where are you looking at those for props on there, Tom? We have nothing.
I'm trying to find them on DK and FanDuel. There's no props for either team.
Maybe get them later today. I don't know, but yeah, they're not giving you anything.
So Dawson Knox needs 1 touchdown for $100K, and Ty Johnson needs 2 total touchdowns for $250K. So again, with the spread, Josh Allen doesn't play. That means they also pulled James Cook, which means Ty Johnson steps into a bit of a bigger role. So that's what I would be looking for, but I have literally nothing involved in this game.
Yeah, see, 25 degrees, not really windy there, no precipitation. Should be a decent day for Buffalo. Philadelphia and Washington. Josh Johnson going to go up against Tanner McKee. This line has been all over the place. The 7.5 held strong because people thought the Eagles might play their starters. I didn't think that. So I had a couple people, DM me early in the week. What do you think? I said, I think the Eagles are going to, not play their starters. I didn't take a side, but I should have took the 7.5 or the 8s because It's not so much like, well, I wouldn't take because I don't think they can win. But if you're going to get like a 4-point discrepancy, even regardless if the game is great or not, you take that your advantage. I did not do that. But now the line sits at 3 and 3.5 across the board. Washington is going to play hard in this game. The Eagles' backups probably can beat Washington, but I didn't bet anything in this game. I do think McKay has a good game, but still he's sitting at 220, and how much you're going to do? Is it more about running the clock out? Josh Johnson's not a great quarterback, but look, the Eagles' defense is fantastic, but the starters won't be out there outside of a couple, like, again, you can't bench everybody, but your top corners won't be there. Your top pass rushers won't be there. Jalen Carter's not going to be there. The defensive line's not going to be there for the most part. Am I wrong for still thinking that Washington 3.5 is decent in this one?
I think it's fine because it really comes down to how the previous game ended. If you remember, Donnie, the Eagles went for the 2-point when they were already up by like 17 or whatever. And there was a bunch of scrums and whatnot. And after the game, they were like, oh, it's because if they scored twice and two points, then it could have been a field, whatever it was. I think Washington's going to come out and play hard just because that's what we get from Washington, especially as their season has gone on. I'm taking a very small play on Debo for a touchdown.
Yeah.
He needs 2 touchdowns to get $250,000. I'm not playing 2 touchdowns.
Yes.
I'm playing the 1 because I think they got to at least start off that. They got to start off trying to get.
No. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead and explain it. I was just saying it was
right. Like the 2 touchdowns, I'm never going to bet into a 2 touchdown market. That's absolutely insane. But give me Debo, 3.5 to 1, whatever it is. I'll take that.
350 and 300 for those 2 guys today.
I know. So, but again, like how the game ended, I think is going to play into what Washington wants to do. Like they want to come out, beat a division rival, even though it's a meaningless game when it's all said and done. I think that's what ends up happening. So with the line as it is now, I don't love the 3.5. Again, if you have the line from earlier in the week, that is fantastic.
Now, we don't have rushing props, and I'm going to assume that most outlets aren't going to have rushing props for the Eagles game, but we do have the touchdown props. Here's what's interesting to me, because I got a couple of people ask me, like, what do you think the running back rotation for the Eagles is going to look like? Like, theoretically, Tom, it should be a big Tank Bigsby game, but then I sort of play in the back of my head, and I say to myself, okay, well, if Bigsby gets injured in this game, that means you don't have a backup in the playoffs for Barkley. Now, he is going to play today, but I told somebody to wait until the inactives come out because you could have, A.J. Dillon playing in this game with Will Shipley and Tank Bigsby and say, we're going to get burned for all 3 of those guys, which brings up then, Tom, the touchdown props. Bigsby is 150, Shipley is plus 230, and I don't think they even are going to have a number. No, they won't have a number listed for Dillon. Like, I do think the Eagles are going to score multiple touchdowns. And maybe it is by the pass, but I got a feeling Shipley or Bigsby is going to cash in one of those tickets. But I want to, because if I see A.J. Dillon inactive and I get any prop bets anywhere, Bigsby and Shipley are going to have a lot of touches in this game.
They really should. A.J. Dillon's been inactive for most of the games this season, especially after they traded for Tank Bigsby. But it's really simple. Like I think you would want to keep Tank Bigsby of any of them the healthiest.
Correct.
And so, but again, you give me a half of Tank Bigsby at plus 150.
Yep.
I think that's fine.
And a full game of Shipley at plus 230. Like, again, I think one of those 2 is in it. It's like, okay, you're going to split hairs and get plus 110 back. Like, no, plus 150 is decent. It'll be a half unit back to you if one of those 2 hit. But also, Will Shipley, there's a chance where, like, you want to ladder that up, too, because I think Shipley gets the entire game, as you're right. I don't think Bigsby gets the entire. Like, it would shock me, Tom. 21 carries, 103 yards, and 2 touchdowns for Tank Bigsby. Like, that would really shock me. He got that much work in this game because you're still going to need him for the playoff run at this point. Arizona and Los Angeles. Here's another one, Tom, that absolutely hit the gas pedal from last night. Like, we were talking early in the week, 7s, 7.5s, and last night it hit the afterburner. Now, today, Tom, 14.5 for the Rams. They see it as, look, we don't want to go to Philadelphia. We want to put ourselves in the best possible spot, which means we want to play either Tampa and or the Panthers in this point. And if they win, that's probably what's going to happen at this point here. Rams 14.5. And also, I love this because it's Stafford, man. Give me 3 to 4 tutties. I'm going to love it because Drake May is going to have to throw 3 to 4 tutties again today.
Yeah, so this is working out fantastic for the Rams side of things. If you are a Rams Super Bowl backer, Rams conference backer, you're just a Rams fan, whatever it might be. Them securing the number 5 seed was dependent on the 49ers losing.
Yep.
So with the 49ers loss, which happened last night, as you said, now with a win, the Rams can secure the 5 seed, which means they'll go to Carolina, and some of those look-ahead lines down here already up. They're 10.5-point favorites again.
Yeah.
I'd say again because we got to remember they lost outright at Carolina in week 14, 15, whatever it was. But that is a significant difference compared to playing at Philly, and those look-ahead lines are up. Donnie, it's a 1.5 point spread for that, and it's 4.5 for the Bears. So we're talking about a coin flip game or a game that you're favored by 2 scores. Yeah. Yes, you want to play Carolina and Bryce Young, who sometimes can't even throw for 110 yards, instead of playing the Eagles or the Bears. Yeah. Rams go win this game.
I'll tell you what, again, I do think they blow them out. 14.5 is kind of crazy work, but that really helps my look at Drake May today. The fact that they are playing, because if he doesn't play, again, New England's going to win. If he throws 1 touchdown, that's fine. But I need that gas pressed, man. I need like 2 first-half touchdown passes by Matthew Stafford. Not to say that New England's going to be like, oh, wait, that's 2 touchdowns. You just understand it. New England has to win that game, and also they want to get their guy the MVP, and that's going to play into it. Los Angeles Chargers, who have Trey Lance at quarterback today, taking on the Denver Broncos. This line also, look ahead. You see that there, FanDuel? 5.5. Yeah, we're up to 14.5 now. This should be an easy victory. We don't know exactly who's playing or not playing for the Chargers, but I imagine 90% of their starters that they want to sit are going to sit in this game. Denver should walk to a victory here, but do you have any looks at, could Trey Lance actually, throw it a bit in this game, run it a bit, Tom?
I have nothing in this game. Like, Keenan Allen does have contract incentives.
Yeah.
But I would say this. He's a veteran. They should look to rest him. He doesn't need the money. That's just me saying this. Like, he's been in the league. He's made hundreds of millions of dollars.
Yeah.
He doesn't need an extra, $250,000, I would like to think. He should not play. That's what I think. I think, again, Denver goes out. They take care of business in 2 or 3 quarters, and then they pull their starters. They're going to be up 24-7 at worst, and they'll just pull the starters and secure their spot as number 1 seed.
Because of the games, Tom, because a lot of these teams are like, look, we're not even playing guys. Once you saw Herbert wasn't going to play, it sort of resonates the rest of the roster. They're going to be like, okay, Herbert, you're down. Every other starter's going to play. But I just want to see those inactives, Tom, because when I look at this game, I'm starting now to get intrigued, because this is one where nobody else controls their destiny but Denver. They don't have to look at any scoreboards. Just handle your business. So Bo Nix 216.5. I don't even know if I love that. But when I look at the passing touchdowns, like Bo Nix 1.5 minus 108, if I correlate backups for the Chargers playing against Denver in nice weather, they should be, Tom, in the high 20s. Like, you want to win and you're playing backups? No?
Yeah, I mean, you should, and it's really that simple. The 1.5, I think, is a fine line. The issue I have is that they're just gonna, Sean Payton's gonna be stubborn, and they're just gonna we have to win this game. We're just gonna run the ball.
Yeah. Let me see what we got. What is their trying to scroll all the way down. Where the hell's
what do you want? First half?
There we go. Denver team 26.5 for the game, which I don't think is bad. What do they have their first half total points? 13. You will win more if you just look at the first half of these games, Tom. The games where one team's trying to win and one team's trying to lose. Again, you don't need the 26.5. This game could very well, Tom, be 23-0 in the third quarter, and nobody scores the rest of the game. Oh my God, at 26.5 needed a touchdown. But there's nothing in your mind that would be like, ooh, Denver's going to slow play this in the first half. That's not a bad look, 13.5, man.
It's not. They want to slow play is the wrong answer. You want to boat race this early and then rest.
Yeah.
That's what should be doing. Get up 20, 21, or 24-7, and then you do nothing.
Yeah, I'm getting intrigued, by the way, by these second half numbers right now, or excuse me, these second half of the games at the 4 o'clocks, because there's a lot of stuff that I need to contemplate. And you're going to get that information out, too, over the next hour. Actually, it's 2 hours before the inactives come out. Yeah. Everybody's going to put, hey, so-and-so's not even on the field. This guy's not playing today. Whole offensive line and defensive line for the Chargers will be out. So just keep an eye on that to see what comes out. But I'm telling you, I'm getting very intrigued now with some of these games that should be blowouts that you might be able to capitalize on. Tonight, Tom, game of the night. There it is. Baltimore and Pittsburgh. The 2.5s have turned into 3.5s. The question I'm going to ask you first, how healthy is Lamar Jackson for you to practiced all week? Never does that.
He practiced all week. No illness for him. The Derrick Henry rush attempt prop that I liked at 18.5 has gone up to 19.5. This is a series historically where just taking points is never a bad thing. How many of these games have ended that are 10 plus points? Obviously, you go back in history, you'll find a handful here or there that are blowouts of 10 plus points. But this ending 20-17 is what we should be expecting. That puts us, right near the total. So give me the 3.5 for the Steelers. Give me the under in this game. And my classic first drive, each to be a punt for both teams. Punt, start is what we should be expecting.
By the way, Tom, you look at these receiving props. They're so low. Like, both quarterbacks are 207.5, which I think is funny. But look at, forget about Zay Flowers, take him out of the equation. Look at everybody else, Tom. 20s and 30s and teens across the board. I know how much they love to dump down to Kenneth Gainwell. 30 yards. Makes a ton of sense in this game. And also, you don't leave anything online. Oh, we can't get guys banged up in this game. No, it doesn't. Okay, don't get them banged up. You sit out the rest of the offseason because you missed the playoffs. There are so many cheap numbers here. I do think Baltimore wins this game. It gets a little hairy at the 3.5 because it feels like it probably will be close either way. But if I get a healthy Lamar Jackson, which I didn't see is rushing, what is Lamar?
27.
That's right. I got to do something nice in this game here. I'm more looking. I don't want Jaylen Warren 46.5, although he probably should get it. I don't want Gainwell 29.5 rushing props. I'd rather him on receiving. Yeah. Derrick Henry's going to get the football a lot. We know that. I want to see how Lamar didn't miss the past 2 games with the leg injury. He's been fighting leg injuries all season. Now he's practicing all week because he got an extra couple weeks on the legs, Tom. I think Lamar comes back and shows people what the deal is. I'm not saying he passes for a lot. He's got to get 30 rushing yards tonight, no? And also, Watt's coming back, more pass rush. You don't got to go that way.
I wouldn't play any Lamar, and that's just me tonight. If he is dealing with this back thing that he got hurt in that Pats game, my inclination would be they don't want him to run, and they don't want him exposed to extra hits. I love Kenny Gainwell in the pass game in receiving. So that's the only thing I would play. Again, I'll be on the Steelers plus 3.5 and the under. I'm already on the punt. That's really where I see things going tonight.
We see things turn out crazy, but again, how does Pittsburgh move the football? I know Baltimore doesn't have a great defense, but how do they move the football? They move it.
I think their game plan is going to be they just need to get to 3rd and 4 or 3rd and 5, and you just have to convert those. They're just going to try and average 3.5 yards per play to give them 3 chances to get a first down. It's going to be super slow and gross.
There it is, man. We're ready for today. Week 18, playoffs next week, and away we go. But I'm telling you right now, the 1 o'clock games, I was already in tune, got a couple action there. The 4 o'clocks now, there's a couple games I think you can pick some things off. So we'll watch this and away we go. That's it, man. Week 18, Tom. It's not too short. Week ago, we were talking about week 1 and 2 and 3. We're in week 18, but we'll have some fun in the playoffs. So leave the people out there, Tom, what they need to know from you today. What do you got?
Really like the Pats team total over 14.5 in the first half. Looking there, Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown for the Chiefs, certainly look there for a touchdown of plus 300 or plus 330. You could also look to Deebo Samuel for a touchdown. And then looking for that late game, the under in the game. It's 41.5. If you think we're going to end that game closer to 50 points, I want to know who's going to be scoring because all those players outside of Derrick Henry are going to be plus money, and we could retire at that point. How are we going to get offense from the Steelers with no DK Metcalf?
By the way, let me just get a look at this updated price point here. Passing touchdowns today. Let me slide it down. Where's my guy at here?
Drake May?
Yeah, where the hell is he at on this thing? I'm trying to slide down.
Minus 180?
Is that the best price on there? Let me see.
I saw minus 182 earlier. It was minus 210 the other day.
Minus 150 at Hard Rock right now, Drake May. I don't care what that price is, people. He will throw 2 touchdown passes. That's what we're going with as my best bet on the show today. That'll do it, man. Tommy and Donnie. See if we can win some cash today, week 18.